ultimate hobby. This is the building of the Starship Enterprise. Its continuing mission to create a beautiful centerpiece, to seek out new builders and young model makers, to boldly go where no model has gone before.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Model Frontier. If you're new to the channel, make sure to smash that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you don't miss a second of any of my great content. So the channel's hit over 500 subscribers, so thank you all so much for that again. I probably did mention that on the last video for Titanic, but I'm going to say it here too for those that don't watch my Titanic builds and are only interested in this. Thank you all for being subscribers to the channel. I'm going to be adding a video game stream soon. More details on that will be in the community tab or on another video, so just keep tuned in and we'll get that taken care of. So issue 23 of this was, we put a lot of stuff together. Basically, we finished the entire top section of the battle bridge, or the battle section, secondary hull. I don't know what it's called. I think it's called the secondary hull. I think the battle section is where the Cobra neck is, but the secondary hull is what that section is. Correct me in the comments if you know, or if you're a bigger Trekkie than I am. Today there's not really that much. We're doing a few panels. We're putting some lights into a piece that's going to eventually go on the bottom of that hull section. So, we don't have a lot to do. Let's not waste any more time. Engage. So here we are at the start of stage 91, and since this is old hat, I've gone ahead and already assembled everything. So, obviously you start off by putting in your 3 escape pod covers. And once you put those in, you secure these down with a pair of AM screws. Of course, when we're using M screws, we do dip them in oil to make it easier. Then you have a set of windows that goes in. This is all one piece that just goes right in there. And you got a reflector, gets held down by another AM screw. And then you've got another phaser array, which goes on and gets held in with a pair of DP screws. And once you do that, that is actually it for stage 91. Obviously, we got this part here, but we set this to the side because it doesn't come into play until later. So we're moving right along here with stage 92, and obviously we got another deck panel. On this one, we're going to put in 10 clear windows and 13 dark windows. As always, the long lip of the window should point towards the wider end, not the narrower end. Wow, that's a tongue twister. I also always do my light bleed fix, which, as I've shown you in previous issues, is basically electrical tape. Then once you do that, we flip it over, and you got 2 panels to put on the back here, 2 reflector panels. They get held in here and here with AP screws. Now keep in mind, I thought that was a mistake because they left this one open, and I thought that would have been an error. It's not. They literally do mean only 2 of them. And also, I would leave them a little loose so that you can tilt them up. Because obviously, we have to put lights in this thing for the rest of the saucer section. So, at this point, go grab your saucer, and then I'll meet you back here. Okay, so if you haven't figured it out, we are going to actually start working on this other side of this section here. Because now it's time to make it mirror the other side. We're going to start closing up all this. So the first thing we need is we need to take this cable. This one's with the yellow and white cord. And we are going to feed it through they want us to feed it through where? They want this red one to go under here and come out sort of like this. So they want the red and black one to come out under this joint here. This goes under these next two struts here and here. And then it curls around. It actually goes over this one where there's a divot, because there's a divot right in here for this wire to go on. So it actually kind of goes in there. And then down through the gap here. Need my tweezers for this. So they want to go through there. And then we're going to plug it in to the second port here. Then I'm going to test it real quick. Okay, they're working good. So now once that's in place and you got everything the way it should be, we've got this cable, which the only difference is there's a blue wire on it and it's a little bit shorter. And for this one, we're going to be working on from here. We're going to feed it. We're going to feed the black and yellow cable with the light through here. The red and blue is going to stay on top. Actually, we need a lot more, so you kind of need to separate this out quite a bit. Because that's going to go like that. And this is going to snake on through that same slot. And it's going to plug in to this port here. Just trying to figure out the best way to do this. This wire organization thing is a lot of work. Checking to make sure everything's working. They do. Okay, good. Now the first piece we're going to need for this is we're going to take this piece and we're going to use the first set of lights we put in. So these lights. right here. The red and the black are going to go in. Oh, hang on. Move the camera a little bit. The red and the black are going to go into the bigger section. Like that. And then the yellow and the white are going to go into the smaller one. Like that. Now you're going to secure these down with 5 more AP screws. So just like that. Next, as you probably guessed, we've got to take our one piece, and just like we've done before, we're going to be putting it on here and sandwiching cords. So you've got this cord from an earlier stage with a loose light bulb, and you have this other loose light bulb. You want the 2 yellows for this part. And this is tricky because this one doesn't have a lot of give to it, so we got to be very tricky with this. So put the one on the one side, this one goes on this side. Man, this is going to be a tricky one. There we go, just like that. Don't mind telling you I cheated there a little bit. If you ever are having problems with your lights, I think I may have mentioned this before, but if you ever do have problems with getting your lights to stay in place while you do stuff like this, I just put a little tiny bit of super glue onto the reflector part and just held the light piece on until it sticks. It's just a little easier sometimes to do that. So if nothing else is working, you can always do that. Once we get that in place, we're going to secure this panel down with 3 FM screws, which of course means they're going to be dipped in oil. And there we go. Once that's done, you're going to go grab that lower battle section piece, and we're going to add something to that. Well, that's what the instructions say anyway, but I'm, of course, going to continue on with the next step of the saucer, because that's just, again, let's work smarter, not harder. So once we're done with our saucer section, we're going to work on this piece, and there's really not much to do on this. We're mainly focusing on this side of it. First of all, we're putting in an escape pot. Well, it doesn't really matter what order you do this in, but first thing I want you to do is take this panel and you're going to fit it right into the windows here, just till they pop through a little bit. And then you're going to put an escape pod cover on there. And once that's done, from the front it'll look something like that. That is all there is to do in stage 92. So stage 93 is going to pick up right where stage 92 left off. We're going to add some lights to this panel. We got 2 strings here. They're the same ones. So there's nothing really different about them. The only lights we're going to be interested in are the yellow and white ones. We're going to leave the black and red ones alone for now. Those are going to be used later. And as you probably have undoubtedly figured out, I'm going to turn this around here. We're going to just put them into place. Once we get those in, we're going to pin those down and this panel down with BP screws. Just like that. I had to pull away because I had to actually be able to guide those screws in, because I don't know why, but for some reason they don't like to use flange screws for these. I really think that would have done a lot better, but... And I did a little extra just because you can tell what's going to go into these 3 empty spots. I just went ahead and used some extras to put them in. The key thing when you're putting in the escape pod covers is the red line faces away from the middle of this. But once we are all done with that part, the instructions next tell us to go grab our saucer section, because it looks like we got to put another panel on. So go grab that, and I'll meet you back here. So for this part of stage 93, we're of course doing the front panel, the most forward panel of the section we've just been working on. First thing we do is we put in our 10 escape pod covers. And then we secure this light blocker down with a pair of AM screws. And then we've got a forward panel where we take this section with this chunk out of it, pointing to the right. The yellow section goes to the left. That gets held down with a pair of IM screws. And then, of course, we bring it over to our saucer to add it on. So let's go do that right now. So, of course, by now, this should be old hat to us. We're going to obviously put our panel into position. Making sure I'm not pinching any wires here. Hang on. Tuck that down in there. And tuck that down in there. There we go. Want to make sure you're not going to pinch any wires in that area. So we're going to put our panel into position. Make sure we snap it into place. Actually, this side is actually pretty good, so there's no snappage going to be happening here. Yeah. And then it's going to get held down with a pair of FM screws. Just like that. And as always, we're going to cover that screw with an escape pod cover. And just like that, that is all there is to do in that stage. So we're here at the start of stage 94 with another deck panel, and into that panel we add our 8 escape pods. And as always, flipping it onto the back, you have this panel which covers those and is held in with a pair of the AM screws. And then you have this part here. The big circle points to this direction and the cutout piece points that way, and that gets held in with a set of IM screws. And once you're done with that, we need to go over to our saucer section. So I'll meet you over there. Now, as you undoubtedly figured out, we're going to be working in this section. The first thing they actually want us to do, bit strange, but they want us to actually take out a screw. they want us to take this screw out here. So I'm going to do that. And they want us to replace that with a JM screw that they provide in this issue. I think this is the first time we've ever used this screw, so... Although I think I can see why they wanted us to do that, because it's got a flatter top. Now naturally, they want us to put the panel in place, but we gotta also take this wire into account, because we're gonna be using that. So put that wire off to the side. And as always, we're gonna snap this into position. Once we get that in there nicely, once that's in there good, we're going to hold this down with a pair of FM screws. And just like that, and then of course, we cover this screw hole with an escape pod cover. Now, just like we did on the other side, now we're going to be focusing in our attention right into this area. And once again, we have to fit this bulb into here. We're going to get it put into position for a later stage. Checking the underside here to make sure everything's good there. Yep, and if we turn it on, this side should start blinking red. Let me see if you can, if I turn down my lights, if you can see that. It's kind of hard to see it on that, but it is blinking red on my end, so that's it for that. Might actually touch that up with a little red paint later. We'll see. Now, I'm not going to move this because this last part's really... You could kind of skip this. Just make sure you hold on to this piece. But this last part has us taking this here. And obviously, we're going to take our piece like this and slot it into position. Like that. And if we get it in there right, it will hold itself in. So... obviously that means coming up we're going to be doing the next, we're going to be doing basically what we did on this side over here. But for now, that is all there is to do in that stage. That is all there is to do in that pack. And that's it for this issue. So again, this is one of those issues, unfortunately, where there's not a lot to do, but it's all building up to the big finish at the end. We're already almost there. Keep in mind, this was issue 24. There's only 31 issues to finish this model. So if you made it this far, first of all, if you made it this far, I give you a bit of applause on that, because you know, you've toughed it out through a lot. We've been through a lot with this model, I'll tell you. So great job toughing it out. We have issue 25 and then 6 more after that, I believe. Is it that? Yeah, so we have 7 more issues to go, and then this model that most of us have been, that if you're with me at this point, most of us have been working on for, God, going on 3 years now. 3 years, it's gonna get done, finally. So, just stay tuned to the channel. The next one will be coming as soon as it comes out, and I will catch you next time on the Model Frontier.